worksheet. One thing that's great about this worksheet, you just fill out this whole worksheet from top to bottom, and everything that you fill here out will automatically get filled on your contract. So you don't have to fill anything else on your contract. That's what the great thing about this particular sheet is. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the FHA case number. You're going to have the property address right there. Of course, the purchaser's names and social security numbers, the purchaser's phone numbers, the way they want to hold title, and of course the sales agent information. This is important, who the selling agent broker is, who the actual selling agent is themselves. Okay, this all needs to be on this worksheet. This area on the bottom is all about the numbers, the purchase price, the closing cost credit. If there is no closing cost credit, it would be 0. If there is, then of course it's the dollar amount, not the percent sign. Okay. Same thing with the broker commissions, listing and selling agent, earnest money deposit. It's all in here, and you even have little bubbles that come up to give you more information about what to fill out on that area. So it's very, very simple and easy to follow when you're looking at this worksheet. Everything on this worksheet gets transferred on the contract, and you're pretty much done. You're just waiting for signatures at that time. Here's where the signature gets signed by the selling, the NAID registered broker, not the agent. It's the broker, and they must be a wet signature. Always remember that. Preferably in blue ink. If you have black ink, that's fine. But why we say blue ink? Because if we get a contract and we cannot tell the difference between a copy and the original, we're going to reject that contract and it's going to get resubmitted again. So it's always safe to do it in blue ink because that is always visible as a wet signature. Okay. Conditions of sale is this right here. It's the second page or second part of the contract where it just tells you some conditions. Certain areas of this form are highlighted. They're highlighted because they have more relevance, they're more important. So make sure your buyer rereads that specific area, and the purchasers all sign on the bottom there. A couple of addendums I want to go through. It is the owner-occupant, of course, certification. This certifies that your buyer is going to be owner-occupant. The buyers have to all sign, everyone that's on the contract, and as well as the NAID registered broker. They also have to sign right here on the bottom. They are certifying also that your buyer is owner-occupied. Okay? So that's why their NAID registration is online when you're talking about owner-occupancy. You don't want to do that for your broker because they don't want to have you be the cause of that. Home inspection, this is where you fill out, your buyer fills out and completes that they do want to do a home inspection. Keep in mind, here you see an X, but you have to have initials now. Okay, this is an older document that I haven't changed. That has to be initialed. So if your buyer is going to be choosing to have a home inspection, they initial. If not, they initial on the second part, they sign it and date it. And you're done on that. The other one is the appraisal request form. Of course, once your FHA lender or buyer has an accepted offer, the FHA lender submits an appraisal request form. We automatically send that directly to your lender, so the lender has the appraisal, and it's pretty quick. It happens on that. There must be an accepted offer, or of course, it's accepted bid and in contract for us to submit the appraisal to the lender. So keep that in mind. Agency disclosure, just please ensure that the sales package includes the agency disclosure from your brokerage. This is not a HUD document, this is your brokerage document, so you have to get that from your brokerage, put it in your package. Proof of funds, of course, if your buyer is paying cash, they must show the funds that are equal to or greater than the purchase price. If they're obtaining financing, they have to have the pre-qual, the pre-approval letter from the finance company. Earnest money deposit, I mentioned, it has to be to HUD or the buyer's name. And of course, in certified funds, whether it's a money order or cashier's check. And you may want to reference the property and the on the check itself when you're submitting your EMD. Okay, I'm going to go through about 10 most common sales contract packages that we've seen errors on when we get a package. And these are something that you want to make note of on your contract that you have in front of you. This will save you a lot of time when you have an accepted bid. So here we go. Line 1, we've seen that the names and the buyers did not match those that were submitted on the HUDhomestore.com site. So make sure they match on your contract and on your electronic bid. It's very important. We reject the contracts that have any discrepancies to that nature. Another one on line 1, the property address must be correct and complete to include unit numbers, directionals, anything like that, or a street type. They have to be also identical with the electronic bid. Line 2, we've seen where the vesting style was not filled in. So they have to fill in what type of vesting are your buyers going to be in. So if your buyer doesn't know how to take title, you can just put their name on there as an acceptable way for now. That's going to get changed, but at least to submit the contract, have them put their name there and not leave it blank. Okay, it's going to get rejected if it's blank. Line number 4, the finance type must match the bid submitted on the HUDhomestore.com website, as well as the listing type of the property. Okay, so finance type and listing type must match both on HUDhomestore.com and on the contract itself. Finance type is the IN or IE or UI. Remember those 3 finance types? That's what you have to put in there. And then the listing type also has to be in there as well. All the money amounts in lines 3, 5, 6A, 6B, and 7. 3 is your actual offer or bid amount. 5 is your seller credit. 6A and 6B are your commissions of the selling agent and the listing agent. And line 7 is the total net to HUD. Now that's automatically calculated for you on the contract, so you don't even have to do any arithmetic on this. You don't have to pull out a calculator, nothing. It's done automatically on the contract, so it's easy for everyone. And then line 11, if the property was built prior to 1978, then the box that says lead-based paint addendum is attached must be checked. The word is attached must be checked on there. If it was built after 1978, you just put on is not attached on there. And it must be signed by the broker, not the selling agent. Okay? So please remember that. The addendum has to be signed by the broker, not the selling agent. A couple more contract errors. Line 12, the buyers must initial, so you got to make sure that the buyers initial line number 12. So when you're going through this contract, review these errors and you'll see if you've missed anything yourself. The buyer's social security number must match the bid that was submitted electronically on HUDhomestore.com. Otherwise, it's going to get rejected. Okay? Please make sure of that. Brokerage information must be included in the certification of broker section. This is very important. The selling agent may not sign, it must be the broker's, and you must include the selling agent's contact information in there as well. Just like we saw the worksheet that I showed you in the first page, if you fill that out completely, 90% of your contract is all done, just based off of that. Okay? And then of course the forfeiture and extension policy must be initialed on all pages and signed on page 3 by both the buyer and the selling agent. This is important. We've seen a lot of errors on this form. So it must be initialed by the buyers on all pages and must be signed by the buyers and the selling agent on page number 3. And then the buyer must initial the appropriate line on the for your protection, get a home inspection. That's the line where it had the X mark on my sheet here. I asked you that it has to be initialed now. So an X is no longer acceptable. It has to have the buyer's initials. All right. Proof of funds, pre-qual. What must be included on this thing? And this is important. If any of these things are missing, we're not going to accept that proof of funds or pre-qual letter. So it must be dated within 30 days of the bid acceptance. Okay, that's important because we want to make sure that the lender does not have to re-pull credit and all this other re-qualify the buyer and start over. We want to make sure it has to cover the amount of the purchase price. So the pre-qual or pre-approval has to cover the amount of the purchase price. It must be in the buyer's name, and if not, a gift letter must be attached. Okay? And it must include the loan type and the escrow amount on the pre-qual or pre-approval letter. So the loan type is if it's an FHA or conventional, or USDA rural property, or VA, whatever it is, it must be included on there. And then if there's an escrow amount, of course it has to be included on there, especially when they're getting FHA financing, because the escrow, i.e., remember the insurable with escrow, it's only available on an FHA financed property, not on any other property. So please keep that, be aware of that. And it must be printed on the lender's letterhead. That's very important. The letterhead of the lender has to be on there when we're getting these pre-quals. So, gift letter note. Most common things that slow down the escrow. Sandy, I'm going to have you come up and talk to them about that portion. Really brief, few minutes. I know we're going to be running a little over time. I apologize, but we had a lot of good information.
Good afternoon. Your escrow is the most important part of finance when we all hear you. So we want that to go as smoothly as possible. It also lets your buyer remember how comfortable it was and how in control you were of everything. I have sheets going to be handing out, so I'm just going to skip over a lot of this. The bid contract and the closing documents must match. If your bid is as Joe Smith, he cannot then change it right before closing and say Joe Smith Family Trust or Joe Smith LLC. They must match all the way through. The bid, the contract, and the closing documents must all match. The pre-qualification letter for the lender does not contain enough information on the finance type has changed. Many times you might be going with a FHA loan conventional. You might be going cash, decided to go conventional, or you might have been going cash and go hard money. But all of the finance types must match. And in order to do that, you need to use a change form, not an AAR form addendum. You must use a BOE addendum that's on BOEresources.com. Loan documents that differ when they get to escrow or that they are too late. Our AAR form says within 3 days prior to closing. A HUD must be 10 days prior to closing. So make sure you warn your lenders. You see that 45-day period, everybody kind of goes to the last, well, we have plenty of time. We don't. You've already lost 10 days right from the time. So get those documents in there. The loan documents and the lender's instructions need to be corrected or redrawn at the last minute. I've even seen lenders not include or know anything about the IP repair being added on top of the loan, where even the agents are going, well, I thought HUD was going to pay that. Here we are having loan documents at title already. Way too late to realize that. Contracts within 2 to 3 days of expiration need approval of extensions. Title cannot and will not close on an expired contract. Now you're thinking, well, 2 more days, my buyer's signing tomorrow, we're within contract. You are not, because it's recording is the date you're shooting for it. That's the actual closing date, is it not? Therefore, yet the documents have to come from Phoenix to Tucson, back to Phoenix, then go to their lender, then come back to Tucson for recording. That's a 5 or 6 day process. So if you are at a 10-day mark prior to closing, you don't have your documents fully at title and already not just saying your lender's sending them, but physically have confirmed you have documents at title. Start well information, same thing as above with your septic, your outstanding utility bills, and the field service manager needs that 10 days for approval. And buyers' misunderstandings, they might have invoices that they need delivered to title that need to be paid. Some items are accepted and some are not. You cannot have anything on a HUD one or a HUD closing that wasn't addressed already in the contract. How many companies out here use like a MTE fee or a transaction fee of some sort? You give it over to the buyer to pay. That's terrific, but you're going to have to do that on an outside agreement when it comes to HUD. They will not allow any additional fees. That's pretty much it. You should have a copy. Please refer to it. Yeah, it's not a HUD. I don't know. They will come. They will not always certify, but they will come. You will be getting your buyer usually $50 but they will pay for the pumping service. Pumping well, the $50 fee to transfer, to say that it's certified to the buyer.
What's the deal on outstanding utility bills? Is that?
Some communities, I've seen it up in San Manuel, there's always some sort of the sewer connection fee. They can get pretty expensive. I'd say $400 or $500. Or sometimes it's a well, and there's well fees still being paid or transfer fees for that. Those are the type of utility.
So the field service manager needs to approve that for a HUD to pay for?
For it to be paid prior to closing, so that the title company can verify that it was paid. Any other questions? Okay, have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Okay. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Not quite. There's a couple more things. Where do you deliver your contract package? It's all up there on the 1S and 2S, of course, as I mentioned. It's available on the 1S for the broker handbook, so please refer to that. I spoke about the termite repair and all, so I'm going to pass by that. I want to get into advertising. I'm going to end it off with advertising. So, in advertising HUD homes, as I mentioned, anybody out there that is a licensed HUD, a licensed agent that is HUD registered, meaning that your broker has a name number, you can advertise any HUD listing that's out there without the permission of the listing agent, which is excellent. Okay? So please keep that in mind. If you didn't know, now you know. That's why I'm telling you, as of yesterday, we had like 58 active properties. You all have 58 extra active properties that you can market and advertise today. Okay? It's there. It's available for you. The only thing you cannot do is claim it to be your own listing. Of course, you can't do that. But you can put it in a featured website of yours. You can put it in a real estate ad magazine, HUD Homes ad, whatever it is, pay-per-click, whatever you want to use, you can do so on any HUD home out there. You must follow the guidelines. Of course, your broker must have a name number. You must advertise HUD homes in a professional, ethical, and positive manner. Meaning you want to stay away from negative words, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes here. You want to refer to these homes in 3 different ways. HUD homes, HUD owned, or HUD acquired. You don't ever want to call them anything else because, as I'll discuss in the negative words like repossessed or foreclosed or anything like that, these are not HUD foreclosures. So you can't call them HUD foreclosures because HUD does not foreclose on properties. HUD only insures them through FHA. The lender is the one that forecloses these properties, submits a claim to HUD for them because they're insured by HUD, and HUD processes the claim and therefore becomes a HUD home after the claim is processed. So that's why we never call them HUD foreclosures. Okay? Keep that in mind. And always, 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 please don't forget to put this little symbol, equal housing opportunity, on every piece of your advertisement. It has to be on every piece, whether it's an e-flyer or as large as a billboard. You have to have this piece of logo on any piece of advertisement on your website, everything like that. So please keep that in mind. Also, you must know any floodplain zones, any other warning information as it appears on the property's internet listing, if it's of course applicable to that property. You must adhere to all federal, state, county, city ordinances, any truth in lending when you're advertising HUD homes. And please, when you're showing HUD homes, always secure the property back. Like if you've got slide doors that you open to show the buyers windows or anything like that, secure it back up again before you leave, and don't forget to put the key back into the box, in the electronic lockbox, please. If you go to a property, there is no key, contact the listing agent immediately. They'll get it replaced out there for you. Now, some things that you don't want to do, these are real important. You must not advertise any HUD homes before they're listed for sale to the general public. Okay, so if you know of any HUD homes that are going to be listed from a listing agent or something, you cannot advertise those ahead of time. You may not use HUD or FHA in your URL, in your domain name, per the FHA mortgagee letter 2011-17. It is not allowed. So stay away from having HUD or FHA in your website domain. I understand there's a lot of third parties that have that. They're not supposed to. And we have notified HUD of all the websites that we are aware of that do have that. And it's up to HUD to police them based on what they have as mortgagee letter. But we just need to disclose that you cannot do that. You must not state or imply that the property, the price differs from the list price that's shown on the internet listing. And then of course also don't give out the HUD keys. There's no reason to, because the HUD keys are all in the electronic lockbox. It's not like it was before where you have to go purchase HUD keys from somebody or make your own HUD keys. It's all in the electronic lockbox. There's no need to give out any HUD keys. You must not refer to or advertise any HUD homes as distressed, repo, foreclosed, repossessed, must sell, or any other negative connotation towards HUD. It's not necessary, as I mentioned, the reason why, because they're not HUD foreclosures. You must not place any signage in or on any HUD property at all, unless it's a listing agent. And of course, be friendly, be kind to your next door neighbor. Don't destroy, damage, remove any signage off of a home, off of any HUD listing, or that's done by a HUD registered agent, listing agent at all out there. So where can you advertise? Pretty much anywhere you'd like. Craigslist, newspapers, home magazines, flyers. Be creative, be different, and you know that you can do that now. So please take advantage of them. Increase your business by marketing. It's the only way you can get to the next level is to be aggressively marketing and diversifying your marketing efforts. So I really thank every one of you today for attending and tuning in. I hope it was what you expected and more. Now I'm going to ask for the listing agents to come up and we'll do a brief Q&A if you have any questions that you have that I can help answer. And then we'll draw the iPad and then send you guys out because I know we're over time here. So, whatever you want. Okay, so I guess we're doing the iPad drawing first before the Q&A. Oh, no, you guys have to have a bag or something. No, we're not going to do that.
Everyone who RSVP.
Who's got a bag?
For the instructions.
Oh, bucket, yeah, there you go.
I got a bag.
Is that the only place? The iPad? All right, guys. Here we go. I like this. No.
All right, you might have to go through some names if someone didn't show, but 82.
Okay, number 82 is James Martin.
James didn't make it today. So if someone knows James, let him know.
If anybody knows James, let him know. We should have James.
Oh.
142. 150.
Nellie, now.
Now she can put Alfred and HUD home on her iPad. Okay, anybody have any questions? Q&A time. Yes, ma'am. Okay, the question was, if you guys are leaving, please do it quietly because we're still doing Q&As for those that stay here. Okay, so if you're doing escrow on the local level, you said?
Yeah, well,